Okay, I have to admit, this video has been a long time in the making, 1 year to be exact, but now it's finally time to give a full review of the Silbersalz35mm true Cine Film. A little warning up front, it's gonna be a full extended video, so if you are here to see some results or my final opinion, you can check out these time codes and jump right to the section you want to see. But this is all I'm gonna cover in this video. It was May 2019 when I saw fellow YouTuber and photographer Robin Shimko, aka The Real Sir Robin, post a video on YouTube about this new type of film called Silbersalz. Back then, I just started out as an analog photographer, but as a filmmaker, I was intrigued right away that I could shoot true cine film on my analog cameras. And to go just a little bit in depth for those of you that don't know much about analog photography, and sorry up front to some photographers who know this way better than I do, but the most common type of film that you can shoot is C41 film. And C41 basically stands for the chemicals that you use to develop your film. And a real well-known example of this kind of film is this one right here. It's Portra 400, which is also being used by the most photographers I know. But anyhow, this roll of film is really meant for photography. And then you have film that is being used for movies. Yes, actual motion picture film. And before you leave a comment down below, I know that the majority of film is shot digital nowadays, but thank God there are still some directors that choose film over digital. For years, it's already been possible to shoot this kind of film for photography as well, but the development process was just a pain in the ass, and there were also some downsides to quality, and I'm not gonna go into detail. There are tons of videos on the internet that explain it very well. The more consumer-friendly option for shooting cinefilm was to buy this Cinestill, which you can develop like a C41 film, but it all comes at a cost. Not only the quality, but also in price. At the time I'm recording this video, this single roll of film cost me 15 euros, and that's without the cost of development and scanning. And it also has some issues with light leaks and bright lights. So back to Silbersalz, and what this company does is take away all the hassle for you. So first of all, the film you get to shoot is true Kodak VISION motion picture film, which again is being used for real cinema movies. At this moment they only have 35mm film, but it comes at 4 types of film stock. 2 daylight balance films, which are the 50D and 250D, and 2 tungsten based films, 200T and 500T. For those of you who don't know what that means, see it as the white balance baked into the film. So the D is more for daylight photography, while the tungsten film is more for dark and nighttime photography. So here's the easy part. They send you the film, you can shoot it, send it off to their labs, and you need to send it off for development because it's not the typical C41 chemicals that are being used. And after that, they get scanned with a real film scanner. They color grade it with their own Silbersalz color science. But that's for a later segment in this video. The ordering process is as easy as it can be. First, you want to choose your film type. You can order 1 single roll, a mixed pack which contains 1 roll of each type of film, or you can order 4 rolls of just 1 type of film. And finally, if you don't want any film at all, you can just buy this awesome looking film canister. The rest is pretty much straightforward. It took 5 days of shipping for me, but I live next to Germany, so maybe that's quite fast. I don't know what the delivery time is across Europe or maybe to the US, but I think it's pretty fast. In the package you will find several items. At first, this letter, which again explains some basic info like the ENC2 development. Further on, they gave you some tips for the best results, which I will go through in the next section. The next item is a small postcard style flyer. It doesn't really give you anything, but I like the amount of detail and branding that they do with everything Silbersalz related. And then of course the film itself. It's packaged in a super fancy canister which holds up 4 rolls of film, and in my case I ordered 4 rolls of 500D after my first order, which was 4 rolls of 250D. Overall, the canister looks really nice, and it's also had a nice upgrade since the last version. It now has a see-through lid where the previous version was all black. And also on the canister, the branding is just on point. In comparison, a buddy of mine made this custom 3D printed film holder a while ago, which I still use today. It's nice and sturdy and rigid, and also the film stays tight inside the box itself. And the cool part is, you can keep the canister if you want, but keep in mind you need to send back the film at one moment, so decide if you want to keep the canister or to send off your film less protected. But now let's talk about the film itself. Like I said, I ordered the 500D version after trying out the 250D. For me, the 250D film was a safe bet because I thought it would have the same results like Portra did, but now it's time to experiment more with tungsten-based film. So nothing special about the film roll itself. The quality is what you expect. The best temperature to store it is below 13 degrees Celsius or 35 degrees Fahrenheit. And the newer rolls of Silbersalz now offer DX coding, which some cameras can read and adjust the ISO rating automatically. And I think that's super nice because I have this Olympus Muse 2, which doesn't have any settings, so being able to get the right exposure out of this makes me really excited. Like I mentioned, I already shot 4 rolls of 250D, so I'm stoked to try out some tungsten film. There's nothing special about loading it, but it's worth mentioning that they do advise you to overexpose by 1 stop. And if you don't know what I'm talking about overexposing for 1 stop, please look it up on the internet. It will make your analog photography game a lot more pleasant, I can guarantee you that. I like to shoot full manual on my Canon A1, which is not to be confused with the Canon AE1. I always make use of a separate light meter, so if I do want to overexpose, it's no issue at all. With other film that I shoot, like Portra or HP5, I always like to overexpose at least 1 stop. And the funny thing is that despite they advise you to overexpose, I really like the shots which I exposed correctly, but here are some shots that are actually a bit underexposed and feel too dark, but I actually kind of like it. So this part was a bit different for me. I normally get my film developed at a lab and then scan all the film myself, and I think it took about a maximum of 2 weeks that I sent my film off and receiving my scans in the mail. So it's a little thing you have to keep in mind if you want to do fast production work. This is not the film for you, but if you have patience, you will get rewarded. So it's pretty easy. There's a Dropbox link in the mail, which brings you to a Dropbox folder only containing your photos. They say the scans will be available for roughly a month, and last time I checked, that's true. So when you open the Dropbox link, you will see several folders. For each roll of film you send in, they add a new folder. Inside one film folder, you will again find 3 new folders. One is the JPEG preview, one is the JP2 file on which they added their own color science, and one folder with the raw scan. Let's open up an example photo and show you some info. First of all, this is the raw scan. This is not edited in any way. Right next to it, I have the edited photo with the Silbersalz color science. And let me get the image sizing. Sorry, it's in Dutch, but I think you get the picture here. The width is 5,900 pixels and the height is 3,800 pixels. Do keep in mind that it's 72 dpi, but as you can see here, the image is 16 bits, and also the edited photo all has the same values. And now it's time to be honest. I had to tweak my photos a bunch in Lightroom. Maybe I expected that their own color science would just deliver the perfect image, but it's not, and it's not their fault. I must say that. Maybe at first I was a bit disappointed that the images didn't come out as epic as all their own example images. But on second thought, I was really happy how they deliver the photos. Maybe you should see it as getting raw log files out of film, like this. The basic image is not that great, but you can do a lot in editing to give it your real personal look. And to be honest, I learned a lot just by grading these images. Knowledge that I now use on my normal 35mm and medium format film. So I think it's about time to give you some examples. Heads up, it was my first time shooting Cine Film, but let me just shut up and enjoy the photos. And if you are just like me and you want to archive all your analog photos, there is an option to send back the negatives to you. You receive the roll nicely packaged on a giant film holder. The way the material looks, you can pretty much tell it's probably free printed. So nothing special to mention about the negatives itself. To be honest, I didn't even try to scan them myself since they are on one giant roll, but I'm sure you can make pretty decent scans of them. So just know, if you want to have your scans back, there's an option for it. It's hard to give a verdict just of shooting 4 rolls of film, because to be honest, it took me way more rolls of film to get to know the film stocks I normally shoot a lot. And also the fact that I only shot 250D so far, I really have to be careful with my final conclusion. But there are some things that I can say with certainty. And to start off with the fact that the price is right. If you count everything up, the price is really affordable, despite the fact that it maybe looks expensive. To make a fair comparison, if you buy 4 rolls of Cinestill, which is 15 euros times 4, which is already 60 euros, add development of the film times 4, and also scanning at a decent resolution, I think the sum will go to around 90 to 100 euros. And even if you make it cheaper with going from Cinestill to, let's say, Portra, you're still gonna be around 70 euros for the full deal. And Silbersalz is at the moment 60 euros for 4 rolls of film, including development and scanning in high resolution as well. So only looking at the price point, it's a really fair deal. And of course, you can shoot through Cine Film, which just gives your photos a whole new look. And yes, I was a bit bummed out in the beginning that I had to grade all my photos to get the look that I wanted to see in the photos, but in the end, those are really my photos now. And without a base, you're pretty much nowhere, so hooray for 16-bit image files on which you can go crazy in editing. Okay, maybe not too crazy. All in all, I just love the look that Silbersalz has. I've been scrolling through Instagram and you can definitely see if a shot is really shot on Silbersalz or people are just saying that it's on Silbersalz. And to answer the question, will I ever shoot it again? Well, I basically answered it because the package that I unpacked in this video were my new rolls of Silbersalz. And I will definitely make a video once my rolls of 500T are developed. And if you aren't convinced yet, please check the description below. I will link the gallery that they have on their own site. Those photos are just mind-blowing. This was also my first tryout making a video in this style, and I hope you liked it. And if you did, you know the drill. Hit that subscribe button and give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment so I know that you can appreciate these kinds of videos. So that's it for now, and I hope to see you next time.